Hello and welcome to the Karen Confessions. I'm Karen, your host, and today I'm so excited to introduce to you Cybele Shana Lerman. All right, let's bring her in the confession booth. Come on, let's add her in. Hello.
Woo, hello.
How are you? So, Cybele, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
You have a long name, but you also have a longer title. You are an energy medicine practitioner, a Reiki master teacher, and a spiritual life coach. Pretty amazing.
Yes.
So I think that that's a lot of cool things that you do for a living. And I would love to, we can't wait to find out more about it. But when I was looking and researching, got to get my notes, you seem to always been drawn to alternative healing when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
But as you became an adult, you actually worked in a diagnostic clinic until life hit the fan. You were laid off from your job, you ended your marriage, and you moved. And then you started working in what you're doing now. So can you tell me a little bit about your process?
Yes, I'm happy to. I can start at least 20 years ago. So I was living in Santa Cruz. I had graduated UC Santa Cruz in California. And even during college years, I had taken a massage therapy class, some herbalism classes.
So you did astrology, you did the health side of it, the nutrition side of it, but yet you didn't pursue it.
Yeah, back then I was just in the learning phase. So I stuck with one astrology teacher, a local astrology teacher named Risa DeAngelis in Santa Cruz. And her classes, she had a kind of a more advanced class that was about esotericism and metaphysical studies. And we actually did some energy healing in that class as a group. So I got introduced to it that way. And then let's see. So I was living in Santa Cruz, and I started attending a holistic school there where they taught lots of different classes. And I took crystal classes. I learned about essential oils and aromatherapy. I learned about flower essences. I learned just all these.
20s?
Yes. Yeah, in my early 20s.
You really were in it. You learned everything.
Yeah, way back
How did you
before
end
it
up
was.
in a diagnostic clinic?
Well, I'll get to that part. That's a little later on.
I have no
So,
patience.
yeah, at that point at the school, it was called Twin Lakes College of the Healing Arts or something like that. And the school I don't believe exists anymore, but I saw a Reiki course offered, and I was enjoying all the different classes I was taking there. So I was like, what's Reiki? I was kind of interested, and saw it was some kind of energy healing. And so I was like, well, I'll just take it. And it was a Reiki level 1 and 2 over a weekend. And so that was kind of my introduction to Reiki and this Japanese energy healing modality. And so I loved the class, and then after that, I actually worked at an acupuncture clinic in Santa Cruz for many years, doing more administrative work, but I got to learn about Chinese medicine. So all of my career and work world was about, holistic and alternative medicine, which I just loved all of it. And then, so then, I probably hit my Saturn return, got a little older, got married.
Explain to everybody what the Saturn return, what do you mean by that?
Well, Saturn return is a time between around 28 to 30 years old, where Saturn in your birth chart comes around to its natal position, and it can signify a time of like kind of maturing or like another phase of life. It's often when people will get married or have kids or establish a career job. It's when they kind of gain a new level of responsibility and possibly
Almost like a graduation, right?
Yeah, kind of into the next level of adulthood.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so at that point, I had gotten married and had my daughter with my ex-husband, and we were living in Santa Cruz. It's pretty expensive in California, and I had some friends moving to Arkansas. Actually, the astrology teacher that I was taking classes from, they were moving to Oklahoma to a community there, and I wanted to get out of California too and just try something different. So we up and moved, the three of us,
You
me
went
and
to Arkansas, as I like
yes,
to say. You went
yeah,
to Arkansas from California. Well,
yeah.
that's
So
very interesting. How old was
yeah,
your daughter then?
she was just about to turn 2.
Oh, wow. So she's
Yeah,
a baby. So you
yeah.
went to Arkansas, and when you got there, you were following your teacher, so you had a bit of a spiritual community there.
We did a little bit, but they ended up being about an hour and a half away because I wanted to be in a more urban area. So me and my then husband and our little baby daughter, we were just like, we're just starting over in a totally new place. And, I felt kind of like the California hippie in Arkansas, totally opposite energy of California.
Yeah.
But, this is kind of how I'm seeing I live my life. I just get something in my mind and I have to do it and I take a leap of faith and, you know,
Of course.
just throw caution to the wind and go for it. So
Interesting.
there we were. We ended up living there for 8 years total. And that was where I ended up at the diagnostic clinic, um, working at the lab desk, checking in people for lab tests and imaging, MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and we would see like a lot of the patients coming through because they needed testing, and the clinic had a lot of specialists in there, and so I really saw a lot of illness. People were really sick with a lot of things, and I also got to see kind of how the Western medicine system, treats illness with like drugs and surgery. And of course, I respect Western medicine in a lot of situations, but, I know too that there's energy medicine that can address things on another level. So anyway, I worked at the diagnostic clinic for 7 years. And then towards the end of that, we were going through a divorce and I got laid off from the job, which was I never really liked working 9 to 5 at that job. I always felt like there was something more I was supposed to be doing. And
I don't even know if anybody really likes. I mean, who really likes to work 9 to 5?
I think some people, they just kind of get in that
They-
flow and they're like, this is life. Yeah, this is
right.
life. I'm doing it. But for me, it was always like so brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. And I felt sometimes like that job was kind of like sucking the life out of me.
Yeah.
So when I got laid off, I was like, "Woo, thank
Like,
you."
Friday.
Yeah, because I was ready to go anyway. And by that point, I had been thinking about moving back to California anyway. And
Mhm.
so I did. I moved back to California with my daughter, who was then probably around 9 or 10, and her dad moved back pretty soon after. And so when I got back, I was happy to be back in California. I moved back to the Bay Area, where my mom and family live. And I jumped right back in and took an essential oil course over the weekend called Raindrop Technique, where you learn how to apply certain essential oils on the spine. And it's really cool.
Wow.
So that was fun. And then let's see. So then I was still doing administrative work. I worked for a cosmetology school in the financial aid department. Um, but back in 2018, about 4 years ago from now, or back then, I went on a Caribbean cruise. So I was still working a desk job, 9 to 5, that I wasn't really happy about. Like I loved interacting with the students and the people, but as far as sitting behind a computer full
Mhm.
time in a windowless office, that was not good
Under
for my
the fluorescent
body.
lighting. Woo!
Yeah, no, my body and my soul was like, this is not right. So I always wanted to go on a Caribbean cruise, and I don't know if you've heard of Abraham Hicks. A lot of people have, but they're like a spiritual teacher and stuff, and so I had been following them or her, Esther Hicks, for a little while, and I saw they were doing a Caribbean cruise, which always wanted to go on, and I was like, screw it, I'm doing this. Like,
It's
I
the
have to
best
do
of
it.
both worlds.
Yeah, I have to do something for myself because I was a single mom and, just taking care of her and doing what I needed to do to support us in the Bay Area and stuff. So I went on the cruise and it was wonderful. I got to meet like so many cool people and just be inspired by all the people that were living their dreams and doing the work they were passionate about. And I was like, wow, you're doing your work like making jewelry and that's enough. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, cool, I can do what I want to do too. And
You got inspired. And
yeah, and so
Caribbean, not only the beautiful looks, but the people around you inspired you to take another leap,
yeah.
different
So
leap.
that was a wonderful trip. And just through some people I met, I was just like, okay, it's time for me to do what I'm born to do, what I'm passionate about. So I got back from the trip like end of March, and then by May 31st, I quit my job. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I love you guys, but I gotta go. And so June 1st of 2018, I launched my business, Awaken to Healing, and I was I took at that point I took my Reiki Master level course because I had done level 1 and 2 back many years ago. So I took my master level so I could be a Reiki master and teach others. And that's when I took the life coach certification program as well. Um, and I spent some time just kind of pouring into myself and allowing myself to just be and learn and have freedom because when you're working for someone else for your whole life and supporting a family and a kid and everything, it's just like there's no time. So I took some time to kind of slowly build my practice and just do self-care and
And a lot
be
of
and
people might think they have questions like, in order to be a healer, you don't necessarily have to be 100% healed, right? Or
no way.
I think that's
Yeah.
a misconception sometimes. I think people look at healers and think, oh, they're perfect. We're all human. So it's like, it's a process. It's all, what would you think it is for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think healing I think it's a lifelong journey, really. I wouldn't say we're ever 100% healed because maybe when you are, that means you're ready to transition to the spirit world.
To die,
Maybe,
to get
yeah,
out of the earth body and graduate earth school.
yeah, maybe that's when you die, or maybe you go on to be a spirit or a spirit guide, or maybe you reincarnate into another life. But I think healing is a a pretty long journey, yeah. So, but I believe it is important to be actively doing that, on yourself in order to be a good. I actually don't even call myself a healer. I like to say like healing facilitator or something like that because I'm not the one healing anybody. Like, and that's the thing about Reiki. It's like I'm just a channel for the healing energy to flow
So
through me.
explain to me about Reiki then, for anybody that doesn't really know. I mean, I remember briefly somebody like they use their hands, but you can explain a little bit more. I know that you use your hands.
Yeah. Yeah, so Reiki is a Japanese energy healing modality. It wasn't even originated to be an energy healing modality. It was more like a spiritual practice by the founder, Dr. Usui. But nowadays, it's basic. It's very simple. It's like we're just bringing healing energy from the universe and the around everything around us, and kind of bringing it down through our crown chakra down through our arms and hands out to the client or whoever we're working on. So the healing energy is flowing through us, through our hands. So that's why I say, it's not like I'm healing anyone, because I'm not using me or my energy, to do anything to someone. I'm just kind of being a facilitator by allowing this healing to flow. During the healing sessions, I'll call in that person's spirit guide team and any ascended masters or angels or spirit guides, light beings that want to be present for the session. So I see it kind of as me and all of these light beings all together doing the work, on the person. So yeah.
So when you teach this now, so you learned and then you got all your certifications and now you can teach people, but you also practice. So you also do sessions as well.
Yes.
You do a lot of things. Like you are really, you actually had so much education. I didn't realize how much you did previously before your daughter. And now it's like everything. Now you do the Reiki teaching, but you also do the sessions. You also add in crystals to the sessions with Reiki as well, which
Mhm.
that's pretty interesting. But then you do chart readings and you do the life coach.
Mhm.
I mean, you're like a one-stop shop. You're kind of like, the corner market. Like, you don't have to go to Publix or Walgreens. Just go to the one-stop shop. It's got everything you need and all the healing modalities there. What's your favorite modality to work with? Or what do you find most people come to you for?
Most primary is the energy healing sessions, either with or without crystals. I, which they're both equally effective. The crystals just add another layer of healing because the crystals have their own vibrational healing properties. So, when you're doing an energy healing session, if you want the crystals, we just add some and put them on the chakras and around the person on the table just to add that an extra layer.
Energy.
But I think overall, I do love doing the energy healing sessions because, I can just kind of go into that session and it's like I'm getting their energy field nice and ship shape cleansed and cleared. And, they may have been holding on to outside energy that's not even theirs. They may have a lot of energetic cords with other people that they know that are not serving them. Their chakras generally need clearing.
How do you feel that when you have somebody on your table? Can you feel it from your hands, or does their higher self tell this to you? Like, how are you able to know where you need to go to first to move the energy?
Well, the Reiki, I do a standard set of hand positions that I usually start around the ankles and then kind of move up the body. Other practitioners may do other things or start at the head or something, but I just do what feels good to me. And then a lot of it, I also incorporate a pendulum. So I don't know if you know what that is. I'll hold one up.
Show and tell, show and tell.
Here's one of my pendulums.
That's a pretty
So
one. What kind of stone is that?
this is sunstone.
Sunstone. Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah, and this is it's an intuitive tool that I like to use during the sessions, and it'll swing either one way or the other way just for like a yes or no answer. And it helps me during the sessions to identify like how many chords someone has, or and then I also will use it to assist with the chakra clearing. So and then just between the use of pendulum and my own intuition and just maybe what we were talking about before we started the session with the client, hearing what they're saying, possibly, reading their body language or something. Just I kind of put it all together to identify.
So
Yeah,
you're connecting with their higher self,
yeah,
pretty much.
yeah.
Being able, and also their team of guides, because as every time I remind myself, you're never alone, Karen. You've got your peeps, your energy team around you, and and so you connect with them and you're able to find out and move that energy and work to heal. And I gotta ask, like, I guess it's probably really feels good because when they're finished with their session, I'm sure you see like a shift, and you probably feel it and see it physically.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Often, probably the most common thing I hear people say is like, "Oh, I feel so much lighter." Like lighter is the word, and it's like, well,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that
you
makes
don't
sense.
lie to people anymore.
Yeah, it makes sense because, your energy field can literally, it's like it's weighed down by outside energy, by, the chords with others, by your chakras being unclear and just emotions and everything. So, the healing energy and the Reiki, it's like high frequency that comes in and helps to cleanse and clear all that stuff out of you.
You know
So,
what I think is so funny? Like, people understand massage therapy. They know when they have knot in their muscle because, well, it hurts and also pretty physical, right? You feel it. But what they don't understand is those kind of knots, like that's on the surface, but there are energetic sort of knots. It seems like that's what you're doing with Reiki, and I could be wrong. I know that I'm making it pretty simple, but I think people, we understand sometimes how a massage therapist works, but you're massaging the field, the energetic and the chakras, and getting those knots out. Is that correct, or is
yeah,
that too
yeah, you
basic?
can say that. I mean, I haven't really used that terminology, but it is like that because, the throughout everything we've been through in our lives, like trauma and, all of those triggering events and stuff, it kind of creates like it can create pockets of kind of like darkness and stuck energy and stagnant energy in our field, in our system. So, yeah, the Reiki and the energy healing, it is kind of, it's like going into those pockets of darkness and illuminating them. So in a sense, it's like, yeah, the Reiki is kind of massaging those dark
Yeah,
spots and just
energetic.
bringing more light to the system.
And what kind of ailments can the Reiki heal? I mean, like physical ailments besides emotional
Um,
and
well, the way we look at it is that, a lot of illness, it starts on the spiritual level, and then
spiritual?
it kind of filters down through the mental, emotional, down to the physical. So by the time you're having physical symptoms, it's like there was something spiritually that wasn't dealt with, and it's manifesting through the physical. So, I don't know if I would say I mean, I would want people to come in for any and all reasons, but, of course, not being like a medical doctor or whatever. I'm not going
Oh,
to
right,
say
right.
it cures this or that or whatever, but on the spiritual level, if you're addressing your energy field and, really looking at these things, especially if you've been through a lot in your life, it's just going to be beneficial all around. But I
And who
will say,
doesn't
like,
want to feel lighter? Who does? It seems like everybody leaves you feeling better.
yeah, and it also depends how
Leave
much
feeling better.
depends kind of how much the person comes in with, kind of depending on where they've been. So if they've been through a lot in their life, like a lot of trauma, a lot of intense stuff, then they may need a little more work, maybe
Mhm.
a few more sessions or just kind of uncovering the layers, as opposed to someone that comes in and they're like, "Oh, like life is awesome. I'm feeling good. I just want to give this a try just for fun." Then those people I can kind of tell like, oh, their energy field seems pretty good. Like their chakras needed a little healing. Maybe they have a cord here or there, but overall they're doing pretty well. So like for those people, I would say, yeah, come in whenever you feel like it. It's really up to you. But the people that they come in and they have a lot of cords and their energy is so kind of heavy and
Mhm.
they've been through so much, then those people, I would definitely recommend them coming kind of more often, at least at first, so that we can really start getting their field cleansed and cleared on that more consistent basis. And then over time, I do see like amazing results, like just overall them feeling so much better in all areas of their lives, things just flowing smoother, it benefiting their, their work life, their home life, relationships, their physical health, just all around. So it's very
And
rewarding in that sense.
is there an age limit? Like, do you work on all ages? Is it just for adults? Is this something that you think that a child could benefit from?
Yeah, we can do all ages for sure. Yeah, because Reiki is very gentle. So, you can do it on babies, you can do it on animals, you can do it on older people.
Animals? Oh my gosh, I bet you my old little chihuahua could probably use some healing.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
absorbing. I do sage her from time to time and
Mhm.
clear her energy because she's absorbing all of my energy all the time. That's what's so wonderful about pets, right? They're so grounding. But yeah, that's interesting for animals too. Did you have to get a separate certification for that? For
You don't have to, but I did take an animal Reiki course as well.
what?
So yeah,
You
I do
have
animal.
so many certificates.
Yeah, I have a lot of knowledge. I mean, and a lot of people are kind of coming into the whole metaphysical scene recently, but
You've
I've been
been
in
there.
this world for, over 20 years, 25 years, not to age myself,
And yeah, you just started doing it in you're still in your 20s. Come on
but
now.
right. I started when I was 10 years old.
Yeah. But now also since you're working with the higher self and the energy field, you don't necessarily have to have somebody in the office. Or
Yeah,
would
right,
you
correct.
do online sessions or do you do over the phone, I guess, or just online?
Yeah, I can do remote sessions with people all around the world. So because you're when you're working with energy, your energy transcends time and space. So
Mhm.
I can work with someone's energy field whether their physical body is right in front of me or not. So I do distance sessions all the time. And for those, I usually would meet with the person either on like online on Zoom or on a phone call, and we'll kind of check in like we would if we were in person for maybe 10, 15 minutes that way. And then I would have the person lie down at their home or wherever they are in a nice, peaceful, quiet setting. I give them the music to play on headphones, so we're both listening to the same music, and I do the session from where I am, and they receive it from where they are, and it really doesn't matter if their physical body is right there in front of me because it's energy, and I can still do the all the things I would do in person from a distance, and
So do
they
you feel something when, for those of us that are not practitioners and we are not facilitators for healing, I said it right this time.
Mhm.
Does your body get hot? Do you feel a tingling? Do you feel something in your hands? Like, what is it?
Well, often with Reiki, the hands will get very warm, and then it varies practitioner to practitioner. For me, it's more of kind of like a seeing, like if I close my eyes during the session, um, I may kind of see the person's energy field. Maybe I can get a vision of them lying there and seeing the light beings in a circle. We're all kind of working on the person together. It really varies, but I don't often get
So
maybe.
amazing. I gotta just say, I'm a little jealous. Like, I would love to be able to close my eyes and to see that and to feel that and to know you're not working alone. Like, you've got these amazing angelic beings being like, hey, what's up? High five, let's do this. Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I would like to I don't see that much, like, I know some people, they see stuff very clearly. It's, like, way more than me. It's for me, it's a little more faint, so it's kind of just a knowing, and then sometimes it's just a trusting, like,
Hmm.
knowing and trusting that these beings are here. It just depends session to session,
Wow.
but I might like to see a little more, but then again, I don't wanna see too much and, like, get freaked out or anything. And sometimes it's a hearing too. So like I'll ask for like does does that person's spirit guide team have any messages for them? And then I will hear their spirit guides giving me a message. I'm going like this because I think maybe it's kind of more in the right side or something. But so
So
there's
you
the
can hear
different
them in
players.
your head kind of like when I'm always talking to myself in my head. It's that kind of voice, but it's something else.
Yeah, it's like the voice of their spirit guides, and I'm just kind of hearing this message. Sometimes it's a feminine voice, sometimes it's masculine. So there's the different clairs. Have you heard of that? There's like the clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant, and clairvoyant. I don't know if there's another, but I know there's a fourth. So people, when it comes to their intuition and stuff, they may have different ones of these clairs. So like the clairvoyant is when you can see stuff. Clairaudient is hearing, which I assume kind of more like what I'm doing. Claircognizant is when you just know, like you just know something is going on or happening or going to happen. And then sentient.
I've never heard that one.
I forgot where I was, but I know there's at least four that are kind of like the knowing, see.
It's different for everybody. Has a unique experience. That's what you're trying to explain. So now you teach people to do this modality, right? But is it so that they can be practitioners like you, or that they can just use it for themselves?
Well, so I teach Reiki level 1, 2, and master. So there are 3 different day courses, just a day each. And in the level 1, you learn how to do Reiki on yourself and your friends and family. So that's more just for, working on yourself and personally. And then level 2 is where we teach about doing distance sessions and practicing professionally on clients. So you would take level 2 if you wanted to go more into this field professionally. And then the master level 3, is where you learn how to teach others.
Oh,
So
wow.
then you could, eventually teach classes. And then we also teach about some of the alternative healing techniques and teach more about some non-traditional energy medicine concepts like the energetic chords and the spirit guides and auras and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I think all 3 levels are great, and I recommend people to take all 3 levels. But if not, anyone can take level 1, and it's really a very simple technique to learn. It's just about practicing, putting what you learn into practice.
Do you also think you've got to have somewhat of an open heart and an open mind?
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
What do you think if you want to do the first level of Reiki class? What would you tell people to be prepared to come to the class with?
I think open heart and open mind is great. Yeah. And just be prepared for kind of to start your healing journey.
Magic. We're getting prepared for magic. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Magic. Because I'm actually doing 4 attunements in level 1. And an attunement's like a spiritual blessing that kind of opens your crown and aligns your chakras and allows the healing Reiki energy to start flowing through you so that it can, flow through your arms, out your hands to yourself and others. So, you're getting 4 of those spiritual blessings. So it really is kind of like opening you up to the energy and opening you up to more like healing in your life and in your body and stuff. So
I think what people need to understand is that, we are all energetic, and people know it. They see when their dogs all of a sudden bark at one person, but they don't bark at somebody else. Like, they get a vibe. Like, we all know what good vibes are and bad vibes are, but we don't understand. Like, it's all because like literally we all have this inner knowing, this inner sense about everything, but we pretty much deny it a lot, or we don't understand that that's part of who we are. Is we're vibrating all the time, and it depends on what you're tuning into, what you're resonating with. And so it's just like I try to explain it like, guys, don't you understand, if you spend your time and around people with low vibes, you're gonna like tune down to their vibe. And it's true. People always say, man, that girl, man, she just brought me down. I had to leave. And we say this in common conversations, but yet when you talk about energy healing, some people might think it doesn't make sense, but it absolutely is part of who we are. And we all have said it. I know almost every person that says, man, that person brought me down. Or they'll say, wow, you made me so happy, because you're tuning up to their higher vibe, and it just, energy is contagious, good and bad. So,
Yeah.
so
We talk about that in the level 1 class about I've kind of learned it called the emotional frequency scale, but basically like everything is energy, and it's literally like the cells of our bodies that are vibrating at a certain frequency and a certain rate and a certain speed. So when we say low vibe, it's like, well, yeah, that person, their cells of their body may literally be vibrating at a slower rate. And so, based on possibly the trauma that they've been through, or, their emotions, the kind of darkness that, has been stagnant in their body. So, they may be vibrating in that slower rate, and then people like you and me, and we're like, woo, like our cells are vibrating good, and that's why we're new friends, because we could just resonate with each other, and we're like, we've done a lot of healing work. We've brought that light into our body and our cells, and our cells in our body are just able to vibrate at a faster speed and rate. So
and I think, would you say, since you did all that training when you were in your 20s, and now that you're 22, you've taken more training. I'm just kidding. But I would think it's like, it kind of like goes together when you start to clear out the negative and you start to vibe higher. I feel like, your chakras start to align and you start to open up and expand. And I feel like it just makes, to me, it makes, when you have an open heart, you absolutely have an open mind, right? And so therefore your experience becomes so much more pleasant. Like, I really feel like sometimes when I'm going places, it's every person, it's usually, actually, it's not sometimes, it's nowadays, it's like all the time. I always get the best of everybody. I feel like I just get, it's like rose petals are being thrown in front of me. It just, it's happiness. But it wasn't like people were always mean to me before. But I think as you clear out your energy blocks and you start to vibe higher, don't you feel like it's like everything that comes in is in your area is just, it seems pretty good. It seems pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes with what we're talking about resonance and frequency, because, and people talk about the law of attraction, or there's these other laws of the universe. I don't know exactly what they're called, but like kind of like what you're putting out there is what you're going to get back, and not in a judgment way, but just in a like a vibration way. So if you're vibrating in a state of like negativity and fear and stuff, that's kind of just the space you're going to live in. So then you may attract environments like that, or that's just kind of the realm that you're going to be vibrating or resonating in. And then, like you've said, when we kind of elevate to this feeling better, that's what we're attracting, and that's the vibe that we're going to feel comfortable with. So if I try and go and spend time in a vibe that's, or an environment that's filled with lots of fear and negativity, it's just going to feel so horrible that I can't even stay there, and I'm going to have to leave. So,
but I do feel like once you get to a certain point when you're vibing so high and you really have an understanding of your energetic field, that you are placed sometimes in the darkest moments to bring the light to the dark, right? And so I think like that's why this healing modality, working with your energy, clearing your blocks, meditating, and getting that vibe up is important, because it helps everywhere around you, everywhere you go. You are bringing your light, your lightness, your heart, your joy, and it is contagious, and we need more of that. And I feel like there are some people that are called here to do just that, and I think it's really a beautiful thing. And I appreciate all the healers and the healing facilitators, because it's about, I know that's a new thing now. I love saying that. Facilitator. It's just, it's really necessary. And I feel like more and more people are aware of it. But if there's one thing, if somebody was feeling a little sluggish and thinking, you know what, I definitely need to bring my vibe up, what would be the one thing that you would tell them to start doing on a daily basis to help them get into a pattern of vibing higher besides coming to see you?
Well, besides coming to see me, which I would highly recommend.
Wait, before we do that, we'll show everybody where they can follow you on Instagram at Awaken Healing. See it on the screen how fancy I am here. And
Mhm.
also same thing for Facebook, Awake Healing. But as long as you go to the website, awake2healing.com, which is amazing. That's where you named your company, exactly what we're talking about. Like, how do you awaken yourself to get to the healing point? And if you're just a basic person, like most of us are, what would you tell them to do?
I would say the number one thing I would say is talk to your spirit guides. So everyone has a guide, a team of spirit guides, whether you know it or believe it or not. But you have these spiritual beings like your guardian angel and different angels and guides that are there for you. You can't see them, but they're there and they want to be there to help you. But we have to ask for help. So if you need help with anything in your life, any area of your life, just talk to your spirit guides. Or if more like to say God, or if you're more religious and you like to say Jesus or Christ or whatever spiritual being that you like to talk to or feel closest or connected with, just talk to them, and ask for help. I guess it's kind of like praying. But
Yeah.
you can ask your spirit guides for help with anything. And then also, in addition, I would say the energetic chords with other people. I really see the impact of those. So, and you can ask those guides and the angels and stuff to help you cut those cords or to cut them for you. But I really have been seeing the impact of having these cords with other people. And sometimes there can be good cords that you want to leave, like with parents and small children. But I'm seeing generally with my clients that they may have these energetic ties with people in their lives, whether it's friends, family members, past relationships, current relationships, and they just don't really need to be there. It's not like you want to cut that person out, but it's better to have your energy field to yourself and
Right.
some other people's to theirs so that we can all be sovereign. That's a word
Well,
I've
I
recently
come
learned.
to the understanding over the years is, people don't understand how they give away their energy in so many ways. And I've talked about it a few times, like on my Instagram and stuff, the disempowering, how we disempower, how we give away our power. And it could be literally in the car when you're driving and somebody's frustrating you and you're honking the horn and you get so mad. And then you get to the office and you tell the whole office about it. Can you believe you're just giving your power to this negative situation? And it's that's not a chord, but it's a tiny one. It's like you're still connecting, and you got to ask yourself, why do we do that? Like, why are we always like, it's an interesting thing to me. So that's like a simple way to give away your energy. So if we can lose part of our energy or give our energy away to some stranger that cut us off, imagine what we're doing with those relationships, those heartbreaks, those people that have hurt us or disappointed us or let us down, our family members. I mean, can you imagine? Those must be some really strong energetic cords. And even though, like you say, you can do your energy work from anywhere. So there's no time, space, it doesn't matter when it comes to energy, right? The same thing goes when you are, even though you're broken up from each other, that energetic cord could still be there. So that makes a lot of sense. And if you don't clear them, can you imagine there are people walking around energetically? It's like, no wonder they're tired. They got like all these cords hanging out from all different places and people just sucking the life out of them. And
Yeah, and I've literally seen, I've had clients that even had over 20 cords. Like
wow.
generally it's more maybe like 5 or under, but I've seen the numbers get up there just based on their life experiences and everything. And it's like, wow. And it's a bit, we just get all that clear. So all that energy can just come back to themselves. And, that can be just so powerful. And
Yeah.
amazing.
I
So,
mean, that's got to be really fulfilling to you to be able to. I'm really glad that, well, first off, I feel like you were obviously born to do this. This is your purpose, and you decided to literally just go for it. And it was just the timing, I guess. We all have to. I think sometimes as human beings, like, some of these life experiences just give us more compassion and empathy. And I feel that it makes us better. I always say there's nothing bad, because even the bad is good. It's a lesson, and it makes us more, we can connect more and understand, and kind of feel that empathy and compassion, like I just said. But I think that timing is everything, and if you trust in the divine timing, look at where you are, and now you're here. So now, where do you normally practice? We know you can practice anywhere. We know we've got your website, but you are in Florida, in St. Petersburg. You practice there, or?
Yeah, well, I didn't even get to finish the end of my story.
Oh
So
my goodness, I'm so
yeah,
sorry. We've been having
about
so much fun.
yeah, 2018, I started my practice. Over the last 4 years, I got it going in the Bay Area, teaching Reiki, teaching other metaphysical classes, seeing clients. And then Florida was like tapping at my shoulder. And I had been there for the cruise, actually, that kind of started the journey, just a day in Florida, but hadn't really been otherwise. But it was just calling me, and I had to listen. And so, my fiance and I came in March, and we visited, and we came to the Tampa Bay area, and we just loved it. And after that, when we came back, like half of me was in California and the other half was in Florida,
Wow.
literally from like March till we moved in July. And it was weird because I really felt like my spirit was here already.
Wow.
And I had to go through those months where I was sort of split. But we moved here in July, and I got hooked up with Awakening into Wellness, which is a wellness center in St. Petersburg that
It's
I
so
had actually
called
visited in
Awakening. I'm
March.
dealing with this here. It's called Awakening into Wellness.
Well, yeah, so my business is
And
Awaken
you're
Healing, and the wellness center is Awakening into Wellness. And I don't know if you could call that a coincidence or divine timing, or,
It
higher
sounds
realms.
like
But
synchronicity, that's for
yeah,
sure.
definitely synchronicity. So now I'm practicing out of there, and that was a dream of mine always, also to be a practitioner at a wellness center with other people that are doing this kind of holistic work. And so I just realized recently, I'm like, oh, I'm living that dream too. And I just love Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg, and I mean the skies, the sunsets, the ocean. Like, I'm just so happy to be here. So
It is absolutely beautiful here, and I think it's a beautiful journey. I think everyone always says, "Well, that's really kind of wild that it's so similar," but it was just waiting for you, and the timing was right. And so now, and you just kind of fit in. You said you visited here in March, you moved here in June, and a month later, you found your home to work in with
well,
a bunch of people
yeah,
around.
when I came in March, it was because they were having a holistic fair at a park. And so I was like, oh, I'll go check out the fair, meet some people. And so I actually met the people at Awakening into Wellness in March. And this a kind of a little seed was planted. And then when I came back in July, that was the first place that I went, and they had, space for me to come and start my practice there. So it all just fell into place. So now it's literally only been about 6 weeks since I've been here, but I'm already having the practice going in St. Petersburg, and I just taught my first Reiki level 1 class on Sunday to Florida students, and level 2 is coming up in October, and master level in November. And so it's just
You
going. It's
Yeah, it just seems like you were off and running. You're just meant to be here. And I'm so glad to have met you and to know you, and to really understand more of what you do. And I'm just excited. I need to get in there. I need to go get a session. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know what I got, but you always got something. There's always something there.
yeah. And I'm so glad that we were brought together, because I saw that you lived on St. Petersburg in an IG live,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Ooh, I mean, spirit just had me reach out to you, because
you
that's not
did.
something I would normally do."
And you know, it's funny because you said, you're like, hey, I'm going to be moving there. And what did I say? Like, oh, we should get together. Let me know when you're here. And it's funny because there's a moment there and I thought, she probably will never reach out to me, but you did. And I'm so glad that you did. And the minute I met you, it's like, hey, girl, I mean, as if I've known you, which we probably have known each other in other lifetimes.
Yeah, I'm sure. I get that feeling too. Like, oh, we must have known each other.
We had to have. And you prompted me, you gave me a nudge to get all this stuff together. And I'm really thankful that you are willing to spend your time and explain more. And I hope, maybe we'll have a few more interesting, we can get even more specific. If anybody has specific questions for you, we always want to know. And maybe we'll have to bring you back on and do some more. I'll have to take a little tour of your room and show people where the magic happens.
Yes, definitely.
I love that so much. So is there anything else you think maybe we missed or that you think is important that on your heart that you want to say?
Just if you feel like something's not right with you, because I hear this a lot too, like people will be like, there's just something not right. Something is, and it's like, listen to that voice and go see a practitioner, like someone like me, or, another intuitive or holistic practitioner or Reiki master. But oftentimes there can be I just call it outside energy that's attached to you in different forms. And you may need someone to remove that, or again, you could ask your spirit guides, but ultimately we all want to kind of be our own self without outside energetic influences. So, listen to yourself, ask for help if you need it, whether it's from a person or spiritual beings, but listen to your intuition, listen to your body, and get help if you need it.
It is like, that's the best advice. Honestly, that's beautiful advice. Everybody listen to what she's saying. That's true. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you around soon.
Yep. See you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All righty, guys. And just so you know, again, for more information, you can go visit the website, awakentohealing.com. Awakentohealing.com. And, just go ahead and give her a quick follow at Awake Healing on Facebook and Instagram. So you can keep up and see more and learn more. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time.